And talking of more propaganda in regard to Syria, this is a report by Aaron Dykes. Busted Photoshop forgery to sell image of war-torn Syria exposed. While mainstream press have been hailing the alliance between Al-Qaeda, the Syrian Free Army, and the West in opposing Assad in Syria, they've also been caught once again faking the war to play up sympathy for an all-out invasion. Austria's largest daily newspaper, Kronen Zeitung, with some 3 million readers daily, published this sympathetic photo seemingly portraying a man carrying a baby and a woman in a burqa fleeing from some war-torn corner of Syria. However, it was later exposed to be a Photoshop forgery, juxtaposing the people walking on a normal-looking corner with that of a blown-out city block ravaged with heavy damage. And you can see in this photo, which is in this article, it's just a normal scene of a man carrying a baby down a quiet street, and they've photoshopped it onto this background of blown-out apartment blocks. And as Aaron points out in this article, the idea is lifted almost directly from the 1997 movie Wag the Dog, which of course starred Dustin Hoffman, Robert De Niro, which satirized how to use the media and Hollywood to create a fake war through manipulation of imagery. And in fact, in that film, they used a scene of a woman carrying a kitten with a blue screen behind her, then superimposed it onto a war zone. So pulling almost exactly the same tricks as featured in satirical films about faking wars from, 15 years ago. That's the level we've reached now. And they're so desperate, after the spectacular rise and fall of Syria Danny and all his propaganda, that they'll now try anything to sell this war. They've got the Coney 2012 PR scam, as we just discussed, and they continually fake more stories. There's another one which emerged. The BBC and The Guardian, this was back at the start of the month, heralded the defection of this supposed pro-Assad journalist in Syria called Hatan Slaber. They called it a great blow to the regime, when in fact, over the past couple of days, it's emerged that the journalist claimed he worked for a news organization in Syria that was pro-Assad. Turns out he never worked for them at all. He applied for the job and was turned away. Yet the BBC and The Guardian jumped on it and said, oh my God, look at this. We've got journalists, even journalists defecting in Syria now. All turned out to be complete crap. Never happened, never worked for the organization. But, there's no retraction. They just move on to the next piece of propaganda.